Welcome to the podcast of Chemical Engineering Life. We are here today with Henry Susilo, who himself is a chemical engineer, uh, an optimization expert, and currently working in the industry. Thank you so very much, Henry, for being with us here today. And before we begin, can you kindly tell everyone about yourself?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Henry Susilo. You can call me Henry. I'm a seventh semester chemical engineering student from Bandung Institute of Technology in Indonesia. I have an interest in process modeling, simulation, and optimization, and currently I'm working in the industry, especially in the engineering consulting company, working for oil and gas clients.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, Henry. And thank you so very much for being with us here today, especially on a Sunday morning. So thank you.
Yeah.
Then let's get the ball rolling. And I'll start off with with the question that we ask all of our interviewees. What brought you to the world of chemical engineering?
Uh, it is quite a long way until I get my decision to
Mm-hmm.
enroll myself in chemical engineering major. So the first one in Indonesia, there is a TV show that shows for kids actually, that
Mm-hmm.
shares about the production activity inside the factory. So uh, I've been watching the TV show since I am in elementary school, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so interested with the show. Then when I'm grow older, in my last year of senior high school, there is one chapter in chemistry that explains how daily chemicals are produced and what are the raw materials, how they are come from, and it is a very theoretical chapter. And I'm very bad in memorizing things, but I don't know why. I am very interest have an interest to learn that. And after several deliberations, I decided to choose chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm. Chemical engineering itself can be a quite a hard degree. No matter how interesting it is, it can be quite difficult to go through. So how has been your experience with your undergrad in terms of the workload and the assignments and everything?
Yeah, I feel the same as well. ChemE is one of the hardest engineering majors. And one of the fun fact during my first up to second years, my score is not that good. And I've ever felt that maybe I'm choosing the wrong major.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very contradictive what I am right now. I'm very loving ChemE, but uh, back to my first and second year, maybe because I'm not adapting yet, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is a very hard subjects, and I cannot do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in my university, I think the workload is still manageable, but sometimes we cannot handle the pressure that
Mm-hmm.
we got from exams, project,
Mm-hmm.
or lab work. That
Mm-hmm.
pressure makes us feel very chaotic, even though actually we have very enough time to work on the assessment.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like the story of every other chemical engineering student. And
Yeah,
I can assure you that you are not the only one that had a difficult time, especially in the beginning, because it is a quite a difficult degree and a very different mindset to get used to in chemical engineering compared to many other
mm,
engineering branches.
exactly.
But like you mentioned yourself, so it can be quite difficult. But then if I was to ask you, how does your normal work week look like in terms of classes and then homeworks? Do you get any social life afterwards or 8 hours to sleep?
Yeah, of course I manage my time. I also spend my time with my friends. Uh, I like to have a short travel also during my weekend, and my kind of travel is a culinary trip because I love to eat food.
Mm-hmm.
Food really brings up my mood during the hectic week. I
Mm-hmm.
also currently still have an enough sleep, so I'm still happy also.
Yeah, that is the most important part, having enough sleep. Um, but like you said yourself, that you have had a difficult time in the beginning, and since, like I said, that's the story of every other engineer. But if you were to pick out of all,
Mm.
in your entire degree, what do you feel was the hardest and the most difficult topic in chemical engineering to get a good grasp of?
Oh, in my opinion, one of the hardest topic is transport phenomena. Uh,
Yes.
I'm very bad to learn something that I cannot imagine. It is one of the topics
Mhm.
that very hard to be imagined,
Mhm.
and yeah, it is very worst experience. And one of the experience that make it more harder is the
Mhm.
scoring system is different from the other topics.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
it is either you are having a good score or bad score. There is no
Mhm.
between that. Either you
Mhm.
are 100 or zero. So if you
Mhm.
make a small mistake, you will get zero, and if
Mhm.
you correct it all correct, it will be 100. So
Mhm.
it makes me very scared during
Mhm.
exams.
Exactly. I fully agree. And I myself had a very difficult time with transfer phenomena. That's a
Yeah,
topic that a lot of people suffer in. But you know, like I said myself right now, that a lot of people suffer in that topic. One
mhm.
of the most hardest topics in chemical engineering. But people would be very interested to know, how did you overcome that difficulty? Was there anything special that you did? If you could share any tips with people who are also suffering in that topic, what would that be?
Yeah. Actually, I apply this technique as well to the other topics. So you
Mm-hmm.
should start with the understanding of why should you learn
Mm-hmm.
this. Uh, what is the importance? Because if you cannot find that, you will have no motivation to learn. You
Mm-hmm.
also can try to learn the topic from the applicative side. For example, the transport phenomena. The applicative side is when we do a computational fluid dynamics or CFD. So you can learn CFD while studying transport phenomena, and it will
Mm-hmm.
help you to understand better and gaining the learning motivation.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree. Understanding should be the core of every topic, because if you understand the topic, then you don't have to memorize anything. And the
Yeah.
engineering is all about understanding. So that's a very, very nice tip. Thank you, Henry. But in your undergrad, and now you're about to finish as well, what have you specialized in? Is there any specific topic that you have specialized in?
Yeah. So I'm specializing in process modeling, simulation,
Hmm.
and optimization.
Interesting. And why specifically that topic?
Yeah, because I feel that I don't have interest to conduct lab work or other R&D stuff. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I feel more comfortable working behind my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I can work anywhere in my home, in cafe, and other places. So I
Mm-hmm.
prefer to do that jobs, and I also have more interest in practical things, and which
Mm-hmm.
in the chemical engineering major, it may refers to solving industrial problems and how to make a continuous improvement in the process. So
Mm-hmm.
modeling, simulation, and optimization is really fulfill what I want and what I likes.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. That sounds amazing. And as long as you like it, and as long as you enjoy it, then that's the main thing, right? I'm going to ask you a question that I ask every other person, every other chemical engineer. Many
Mhm.
people, when you tell them you are a chemical engineer, they automatically connect it with chemistry. They connect you with a person who is
Mhm.
sitting in a lab, dropping chemicals into a test tube and whatnot. In your opinion, in your undergrad, was there a lot of chemistry in your curriculum? And if yes, and if not, what is the direct link between chemistry and chemical engineering?
Yeah, actually, in my university, in the chemical engineering curriculum, chemistry course is not that many, maybe around 10% from the
Mm-hmm.
entire course. But you're right that there is the connection between chemi and industry,
Mm-hmm.
and chemistry. I will use soap production as an example. So,
Mm-hmm.
chemists will work to find the right formula, the recipe, and how to make it in a small scale, while the chemical engineers try to upscale the production, designing the process in a larger capacity and make it profitable based
Mm-hmm.
on the recipe that have been developed by the chemists.
Mm-hmm. Then moving on, have had any internship during your chemical engineering degree?
Yes, I have ever had an internship.
Hmm. That's great. Many students, they tend to have difficulty in finding those internships. So if you could tell us a little bit about, how did you find this position? Was there any specific platform or method that you used to reach out to the people and to get hold of this internship?
So I get the internship when I'm scrolling my Instagram. I'm
Okay.
following accounts that give
Hmm.
information on jobs and internships.
Hmm.
Also in LinkedIn. So yeah. and
Okay.
other social media platform. You can find many
Mhm.
internship or jobs. And luckily that day I found a suitable internship program.
Mhm.
So yeah, for me it is not that hard because
Mhm.
the company itself opened the internship program, not I'm asking them for.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. So that's great that you found the internship position. But what did you do at the as an intern at the company?
Yeah. So during my internship, my task is still in the scope of my favorite in
Mhm.
simulation. So the instructor asked me to calculate whether the current facility is enough to handle a larger capacity of raw materials.
Mhm.
If it is not, I'm asked to calculate the additional equipment needed. So kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay, great. Okay,
That the
amazing. But that's great that it was in the realm of optimization and simulation. That's something that you are an expert in, and something that you also
yeah.
enjoy working with. Uh, was your internship period helpful in terms of you getting a real life experience and getting a chance to see how all of the things that you've learned can be applied in a real life problem?
Yeah, internship quite helps me to gain some experience, but
Mhm.
in my case, it is not the best way to gain experience because
Mhm.
sometimes companies are not trusting their
Mhm.
interns to work
Mhm.
on important projects.
Mhm.
It is reasonable though because student may obstruct the project by doing it wrong, or
Mhm.
they didn't obey the schedule that makes the project is uh,
Mhm.
obstruct. And in my side, internship is good, but it is not the best way to
Mhm.
learn real life experience. You should directly go to the job.
That's actually very interesting what you said there. I have never really thought of it that way. That many people, of course, and that totally makes sense. The companies cannot entrust their interns with
Yeah.
the basic data and of course the data files, and that's a very interesting observation, Henry. But then, if I was to ask you, when you say that students should go directly for the jobs, what would that mean? Like, could you speak a little on that?
Yeah, because if you are still an intern,
Mhm.
just what I say, you are the one who want to have an
Mhm.
internship. But when you're looking for the real job,
Mhm.
company also needs you, uh, needs your work, needs your
Mhm.
ability to solve the problems, to have a contribution to the company.
Mhm.
So if you are going directly to the real job, you will have
Mhm.
uh, more complex projects, you will
Mhm.
learn more, and you will experience more.
Well, thank you so very much, Henry. That is a very useful tip, and I'm sure people who are watching are really gonna make use of that. But now I'm gonna jump away from your education and let's talk about your YouTube channel. For all the people watching,
Mhm.
I would also like to share that Henry here also has a very interesting and successful YouTube channel where he posts weekly about chemical engineering topics, about optimization. So, coming to that, Henry, can you tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel to begin with?
Yeah. So during the transition to my third year in university, uh, I have two questions. First, why engineering in my country, in Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
seems to be underrated and less
Mm-hmm.
appreciated. Year by year, high school student interest in engineering major, especially chemistry, is lower and lower. People are tend to work in other stuff because they think that, oh, engineering major is very very hard. You will have
Mm-hmm.
less sleeps, and it is not an interesting one. And the second one, uh, I ask myself, it is possible if a student share their knowledge in engineering, because I really love to share my knowledge, but
Mm-hmm.
organizations have more trust in senior engineer rather
Mm-hmm.
than undergraduate students.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, it is also makes sense because senior engineer have more experience. But do I should wait for 20 years so I can share my knowledge? From
Exactly.
that moment, I have one additional goals that I want to
Mm-hmm.
share technical
Mm-hmm.
engineering things, and I do that from my YouTube channel. Because
Mm-hmm.
why from YouTube? Because no one can stop me to
Mm-hmm.
make videos. Uh, it is
Mm-hmm.
what I want. So no one can complain, hey, you should not make videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it is what I want. So I start from making YouTubes, and hopefully from the YouTube channel, people more recognize with my ability, with my
Mm-hmm.
capabilities, and they have an interest to make me as their speaker in the organizations to share on technical things.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, and that is something that it's very noble of you to share your knowledge with other people, and I fully agree. YouTube, it is also the best medium to reach out to as many people as you can. Can you also share the name of your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So my YouTube channel name is Tekkimboi. But
Tekkimboi.
I'm sorry for maybe non-Indonesian people because I mainly use Indonesian in my YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel
Mm-hmm.
because my main focus is to develop my
Mm-hmm.
country right now.
Mm-hmm.
After I feel like it is better,
Mm-hmm.
people more appreciative to engineers, maybe I have time to make a videos in English
Mm-hmm.
so more people can watch me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you so very much, Henry. That is indeed a very noble of you to share your knowledge, especially with your other countrymen and other people. Because because you through YouTube you can really reach out to a lot of people, and like you said, no one can stop you from making these videos. So it's really great. And people who are watching, I would strongly suggest that they also go and watch your videos because they are really helpful. But so what is the main topic of your videos? Are they mostly on optimization, talking about chemical engineering, or what other areas do you feel that you also touch through your YouTube?
So the topics covered mainly are the tutorial on process simulation.
Mm-hmm.
I also make videos about sharing session in ChemE stuff, like in
Mm-hmm.
university year or about jobs. And I also have a storytelling or vlogs about my experience in ChemE. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when I am doing a site visit, I make the videos so
Mm-hmm.
people have more uh,
Mm-hmm.
imagination on how chemical engineering works.
Exactly. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is very helpful.
Yeah.
And if I can add additional to your YouTube channel, you have also been a guest speaker for multiple and different organizations where you were invited and you spoke on optimization and gave a lecture to different people. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So day by day, as I mentioned before, someone recognized me through YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, he said, "Right, oh, you have a very interesting uh, session, and how if you do you want to be speakers in
Mm-hmm.
workshops or webinars?" And yeah, start
Mm-hmm.
from that day, my first engineering workshops. Day by
Mm-hmm.
day, I am more trusted to conduct workshops in engineering stuff. And yeah, until now I have at least one workshop per month.
Okay, amazing. And if I can add, Henry has also been a guest speaker for Chemical Engineering Life once,
Of
and
course.
so it
Yeah.
was a pleasure having you, Henry. But you
Mhm.
are an expert. I'll say that you are an expert in optimization and simulation. For people who are watching,
Oh,
what exactly is optimization? If you could describe it in short terms for people who don't know.
yeah. So optimization, I think it is one of the core of engineering. Any kind of engineering want to have more optimized in their
Mm-hmm.
designs or in their work. Uh, so optimize is when we want to make our system better by
Mm-hmm.
changing the variables.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. But in terms of chemical engineering, if you could think of an
Mhm.
example with optimization, what would that be? Like, for example, let's say we're talking about a specific process, let's say, and
Okay.
what are the sort of variables that you would like to optimize, and what would be the ways to do it, so that people can get an exact idea about what sort of problem setting you will be working with within optimization.
Okay. So I will make a general example in chemical
Mm-hmm.
engineering. It is pipe insulation thickness. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have a pipe and you will design insulation, the more thicker the insulation, you will have more cost. But
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, you will have less energy loss.
Mm-hmm.
It so it is contradictive. You on the other side, you want to have less energy loss, but if you want have energy loss, you will have more cost. So
Mm-hmm.
how we balance between those variables? that is one of the optimization
Mm-hmm.
techniques.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And just like you said yourself earlier, that you went into optimization and simulation because you didn't really want to do the hard hat part of the job, the practical aspect of it. And and I think that
Yeah,
you share that interest with a lot of people out there, because chemical engineering can be divided into being the people that are working with optimization and simulations, and also the people that are working on the floor. Uh,
yeah.
if I was to ask you now, since you have gone through this path, the people who would like to learn more about optimization or something they would like to get more skill set on, what how do you practice your skills in optimization, and what should people be doing if they would really like to walk in that path?
So my way of learning is I use textbook as my main reference, not
Mm-hmm,
YouTube. Uh, I didn't recommend YouTube to be as a starting point
mm-hmm,
or as your main reference because you may miss the theoretical basis.
mm-hmm,
YouTube videos, like my videos, usually jump in rightly to the examples or to the practical session. And it is not good way for learning engineering subjects. You
mm-hmm,
need the theoretical basis first. I also look for textbook that have practical problems because when I learn the theory, I can directly practice. So
mm-hmm,
I have a better learning way,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Okay, so you mean to say that the best way to learn is to read, understand, and then apply your knowledge right after?
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's
If I
right.
was to ask you, like, sort of simulation tools are there for chemical engineers? If you could just briefly tell us.
Okay. So for the general process simulation, I usually use Aspen technology softwares such
Mm-hmm,
as Aspen Plus, Aspen HYSYS, or you can also use Unisim Design,
mm-hmm,
DW Sim. There are a lot of it. If maybe you want to work in maybe steel company or metallurgical company, you will have
mm-hmm,
also another software. Uh, you can name it HSC Sim. Uh,
mm-hmm,
Also, if you are working in a water treatment, there will be another simulation software. So
mm-hmm,
there are a lot of softwares out there.
mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you, Henry. Uh, So going away from your education and from your YouTube channel, let's talk about your job. You are currently working
Yeah,
in the industry. Is that correct?
yeah,
Perfect. Amazing. And what role are you working in as right now?
yeah. I'm currently working as a process consultant engineer in
Mm-hmm,
Bentala and as a process assistant in Lapi ITB. Both of
mm-hmm.
them are the national engineering consulting company.
Amazing. One of the finest companies in Indonesia, and that's a great role that you have got yourself there. So talking about your role, what is your daily work routine like as a proper chemical engineer in the field out there? I mean, if you were to summarize, what do you do in?
Okay. So, because I'm not a full-time employee yet,
Mhm,
my working hour is still flexible. I can
mhm,
work in during the day or during the night. It is up to
mhm.
me as long
Okay.
as the objective is fulfilled. So
Mhm,
I usually work during my leisure time because I also have class in my university,
mhm,
lecture, so I cannot miss it. Also, of course, yeah, because I'm still a university student. So in a consulting company, each day you will facing new challenge and uh, new things that you will need to be solved.
mhm,
For example, today I'm handling the reactor, but the other day I might be handling the heat exchanger. So it
mhm,
is very, very diverse problems,
mhm,
and the client is sometimes not only coming from the oil and gas industry. It can be come from the pharmaceutical or maybe
mhm,
in the petrochemical. So you need to have a wide knowledge in all of the industry in order
mhm.
to solving the problems.
Well, that's interesting. That's amazing. If I can ask, so you are currently working with a consultancy company instead of working within company that have their own production, let's say.
Mm.
Uh, is there any specific reason you chose consultancy over looking for a specific one company position?
During my early years, especially as
Mhm,
an undergraduate student, consulting company is one of the easiest one to be approached. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is, I think, there are many small consulting companies.
Mm-hmm.
But if I work directly to the plant, I never see any small
Mm-hmm.
plant. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it is more harder to
Mm-hmm.
approach to the company. So I
Mm-hmm.
choose the consultancy company because it is
Mm-hmm.
easier to approach, and
Mm-hmm.
also, like I said before, consultant learn a wide uh,
Mm-hmm.
industrial application, so I can learn more after I know what is the industry that I very like. I can choose that, and
Mm-hmm.
I will go to the company after I'm graduated.
Mhm. Exactly. Well, that's very rightly said and very good way of thinking because consultancy really allows you to go and work with a very different type of industries and very different type of
Yeah,
people that could really help you explore your interests and the likes and dislikes and everything. So that's a very wise choice that you made there. Getting a job out there, it is a combination of some very strong hard skills and very good soft skills.
yeah.
If if you could choose, what would you choose as five hard skills that you need to be successful at your job right now?
So the hard skills are, I can say it is almost all chemical knowledge, because as
Mm-hmm.
I said, uh, today you can handle the reactors, but tomorrow you
Mm-hmm.
can handle other section of the plant. So
Mm-hmm.
you should master yeah, the basics. And
Mm-hmm.
also the engineering sense, because in the work sometimes you have no much time to have a calculation and you need to validate, so you can validate it based on the engineering sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also knowledge on engineering report, datasheet variables, because the client companies send to us many reports from their
Mm-hmm.
plant, and we need to know if we want to looking for certain information, where should we
Mm-hmm.
look at.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we need to know how to make a presentation slides, because each week I should speak for the client, and I
Mm-hmm.
should prepare the presentation slide. And lastly is the ability to operate software, or the knowledge to operate tools, because
Mm-hmm.
in solving industrial problems we require that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Thank you so very much for that. But a lot of times I have heard that from many other people, and I have myself experienced it, that to be successful in the industry, your soft skills tends to be quite a lot more important than your hard skills many times
Yeah,
because you're working with so many of these non-engineering people, management people that don't know much about engineering. So
yeah.
if you had to choose, what are the most important soft skills that you need to have?
So the first one, the most important one I can say is as communication, because
Mm-hmm.
as you said before, um, for example, if we want to present our results to operator, uh,
Mm-hmm.
don't use words or yeah, the stuff that they don't understand, because they have a
Mm-hmm.
different educational background with us. So
Mm-hmm.
how we can communicate our results with the operator, or with the business aspects, because they don't study engineering. It
Mm-hmm.
is one of the hardest challenge right now in my job. And
Mm-hmm.
also how to make decisions, how to make recommendations,
Mm-hmm.
also how to speak to client, and problem solving skills. It is very important, because I am paid because I solve problem, right? And
Exactly.
lastly, analytical thinking.
Mm-hmm. That's that. Okay, exactly. That is something I really like what you said that you're getting paid to solve the problem. So that's a skill that you need to
Yeah.
have. Uh, exactly. You can't be walking around asking all these questions to other people when you are the ones that have been assigned to solve these problems. But thank you so very much for that, Henry. You seem very happy and very satisfied with your current role.
Mm.
If you had to pick, what is the utmost best thing about your job right now as being a consultant?
Since I have an interest in simulation and
Mm-hmm.
optimization, my job is, for me, is the best place to
Mm-hmm.
apply my interest.
Mm-hmm.
Because in if you work directly at the floor, maybe you have less time to work on
Mm-hmm.
simulation. as a consultant, you have more time to do it, and I
Mm-hmm.
also have a chance to explore various kinds of problem in the industry that
Mm-hmm.
widen my knowledge and experience in different industrial sector.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That sounds amazing, and it's really great to see that you're very happy with your job and you're satisfied with where you are right now. So that's the most important part.
Yeah.
But you are a student right now. You are in your final year, and you still managed to get yourself a job. Not just a job, but actually a job that you love, a job within one of the finest industries, one of the finest companies in Indonesia. Could you tell us, for the people who are watching, for the other students, could you give us a little bit tips on how you made that dream come true? How did you make it possible?
Okay. Yeah. Engineering job for student is a very rare thing, mm, especially in Indonesia, and it is reasonable because company didn't trust in students that haven't
Mm-hmm.
complete their studies. And until now, I never see a company hiring undergraduate student for technical position. That's the same thing with my experience. I never apply jobs directly for both of the two that I have mentioned before. Instead, people reaching me through LinkedIn and WhatsApp whether I'm interested to join their company. I can conclude two main things to get a job as a student. The first one is build a connection because
Mm-hmm.
more connection means more chance to get employed. And
Mm-hmm.
the second one is you have a strong value that you can offer to the company. In
Mm-hmm.
my case, what I can offer to the company is I have expertise in simulation and optimization, and it
Mm-hmm.
can really help you to solve the problem. That is my
Mm-hmm.
selling point right now. And because if you have many connection but you have no value or skills, so what you are going to be paid for?
Mm-hmm.
You need to develop your value.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. I mean, it is not your degree that's getting the job, but it's your skill set that's getting the job.
Yeah,
And as long as you don't sharpen your skills and you don't show to the people that you are capable of doing the job, that you're not going to get anywhere without it. And that's very wisely said. Thank
correct.
you, Henry. Final year of your undergrad, of your bachelor, and you're soon to be done in 1 year's time. What
Mm.
have you planned ahead? Do you feel like you would like to study ahead for your masters or PhDs, or do you feel a bachelor's is good enough?
Currently, I'm planning to directly work in the industry after graduation because,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, I enjoy more in the practical aspect. Uh, to be honest, I'm not quite enjoy the theoretical stuff that I learned
Mm-hmm.
from university. I
Mm-hmm.
mostly rebel and looking for that practical aspects because I always want some one that I learned to be applied directly.
Mm-hmm.
So because I want to gain many practical experience, I think working directly in the industry is the best things for me.
That's interesting. That's amazing, and that is something that a lot of people agree on, because you're either a theoretical person or you are the practical person. And if you feel that you are much more hands-on, then it's better to go into the industry rather than going ahead for your masters or PhDs. It's great that you're also in track with the plan that you have chosen for your future, especially since you have a consultancy, so you are getting some very good hands-on experience, especially in the area that you would like to work in. So that's
Yeah.
great. So moving on, Henry, if I was to ask you for suggestions for our future graduates, for people who are watching and who are about to graduate, what is that one thing that you feel that everyone should focus on before they walk out the gate and start applying for jobs?
Okay. So my suggestion is do exploration on many things and find what suits you the best. For
Mm-hmm.
undergraduate students that watching this video, don't push yourself too hard if you don't like simulation or optimization, uh, because it is not for everyone. Every
Mm-hmm.
people have their own things that they are capable of, and
Mm-hmm.
after you found that things that you are capable of, develop it and make it as your brand, and people
Mm-hmm.
then will be recognize you for that expertise in the
Mm-hmm.
field, and finally you can have a better chance to be accepted in the job. Besides that,
Mm-hmm.
also spend your time to prepare and plan your future career, because it is your own future. No one
Mhm.
would care about your future, and it is only you that can
Mhm.
make your future job comes true.
Mhm. Very, very rightly said, Henry. Very rightly said that chemical engineering is such a broad degree, and you really have to explore all of your options. And
Yeah,
just because you don't like simulation doesn't mean that the world is ending for you. There
yeah,
are so many other options, and don't force
that's right.
yourself into a topic that you don't like, because like the saying goes, if you love what you do, you won't have to work a day in your life. So people really should go out there and find that thing that they enjoy working with. Now you're about to finish this year, and I would like to ask you if you were to go back to the Henry that started university in the very first semester,
Mhm.
what is something that you would tell yourself? Uh, what if you had a time machine and if you could go back and you could talk to your one Henry that's just about to start chemical engineering? What is that one thing that you would tell him that you wish someone had told you at that time?
What I want to tell to my previous Henry is, as long as you're still an undergraduate student with less experience, don't set the standard too high in
Mm-hmm,
choosing company, and also don't prioritize the money as well, because what matter the most right now is how you get the experience, and after you get enough experience, you can
mm-hmm,
start searching for a better company with a better
mm-hmm,
wage. So because at first I feel like, oh, I have a big dream. I
mm-hmm,
should work in a big company, but
mm-hmm,
it turns out that it is very hard to be realized in your university
mm-hmm,
uh, year. So rather than that, you can focus on gaining the experience. It is okay if you're working not in a big company, but you need to focus on the experience.
mm-hmm. Exactly. That's very rightly said. Because the more you polish yourself, the more skills you learn, the more attractive you will be to all the companies.
Yeah.
Everything will follow as long as you yourself are competent enough to do the job. And just like you said earlier, I really like what you said that you are getting paid to solve the problem.
For
So if you're
yeah.
unable to solve this problem, or if you are unskilled at that, then there's no point of applying or getting a degree. So that's a very nice. That was a very nice sentence. So the last question that I'll ask you, Henry, is about what do you feel is that one most important skill that people should really focus on during the university years or even after graduating if they would very much like to go ahead with optimization and simulation?
Okay. So if we are talking about the hard skills, core hard skills, uh, in my point of view, you need to focus on the basic engineering skills and develop your engineering sense. Because when you're doing simulation and optimization, there's something that can stop you and can judge you to say that, hey, your simulation is wrong. It
Mm-hmm,
is your sense. If you have that engineering sense, you know when it is wrong or
mm-hmm,
when it is right. I
exactly.
have seen some people that have a very good software literacy, but
Mm-hmm,
they don't have the engineering sense. So
mm-hmm,
they just go directly. If they get the result, they accept the result
mm-hmm,
without any engineering judgment. So
mm-hmm,
if you have the basics engineering skills and you know how to judge your
mm-hmm,
simulation and optimization result, you have a better result to
mm-hmm.
offer to the company.
Exactly. That's very nicely put. That's very nicely put. And that is something that I personally have also heard many times that working as an engineer, regardless of what engineer you are, you don't get paid to look at the data, but you actually get paid to make sense of what the data actually means in terms of what you're doing
Mm,
doing at the job. And that is very important. And you really need to have that very
exactly.
fundamental engineering understanding. That is a very nicely. That was very nicely put, Henry. Thank you so very much. Thank you. And this pretty much concludes all the questions that we had for you. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people watching?
For people who are watching, if you are an undergraduate student, I will go the same with the previous advice. Do an exploration so you know what do you like, and what is your job preference. So when the time comes, you can choose the jobs wisely, and you will not have that much difficulties to apply for jobs. And for the practitioners, such as engineers or maybe postgraduate students, um, I recommend also to have sharing sessions, because as an undergraduate student, I feel that I need much sharing from the practitioners, because some of us doesn't know how it is feel to work as chemical engineers, and not all of us have the chance to work during undergraduate. So your sharing is very important to us. I think that is
Exactly, and that is very, very nicely put. You really, really have to make use of your own network. The people around you are the first people that you must learn from, especially your students. Like if your classmates get a job, reach out to them, learn from them. If not them, reach out to the seniors, reach out to the people on LinkedIn,
yeah.
reach out to as many people as you can to get their experience in your under your belt. That is very nicely said. Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you so very much, Henry. And this concludes all the questions that we had for you. And it goes without saying, thank you so very much for being here with us today and for answering the questions, providing your insights, and sharing your experience with everyone. It goes without saying that the answers that you gave and the insights you provided, they are really going to help a lot of people. Uh, so thank you so very much for that. And I hope you have a great day ahead. And thank you so very much for once again for joining us.
Thank you for listening. And if you have not done so already, remember to become a free member at Chemical Engineering Life. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more upcoming podcasts with chemical engineers. Thank you and have a great day.